So welcome everybody. So in case anyone is confused, you are not seeing double. We have two Donna Millers. We have Donna Miller Kassman, who's waving, and we have Donna Miller Small, who's wearing a black shirt, and I am Dara. So for those of you who haven't been joining us on our Zooms before, Donna is your shirt gray, Donna Kassman?
Khaki
gray or green? This is like one of those internet challenges. So that is my Mahjong Donna. And the two of us play Mahjong in Hollywood, Florida. In 2019, we began with a beautiful roll of Mahjong dice and started a small business. And when the pandemic hit, we could have stopped and we decided to connect people. Donna, you want to tell them how we kept going?
Well, we started doing virtual, Zoom calls, and then we expanded to virtual Mahjong tournaments. And from every one of those tournaments, we donate money to charity. So people really loved it because people were lonely and people connected, are now friends, and they now play online together. So yeah, it's a great thing.
And then another wonderful friendship that was formed during our Zooms was we reached out to teachers and collectors all across the US and beyond. And one of them was Donna Miller Small. And through that, we actually wrote a canasta book over the past year or 2 years. So there's a lot of wonderful, connections from the game. Something we wrote in the book applies to canasta and Mahjong, is kind of like the song Happy Birthday. Everybody might sing it to a different tune or different words, but the song is universal. So Mahjong and canasta, just any type of game like that, just really opens doors. So now that we think most everybody is slowly trickling in, we did our introduction, Dara, Donna, and Donna. First, last time we did a Charleston, it was just me and Mahjong Donna, and we did tips that we came up with over time from playing the game, and we shared that. This is not going to be a rehashing of that. If you were on that PDF is now in Donna Miller Small's hands. She's going to go over it, but really briefly highlight parts, add her take on it. After we do those tips, she's going to stop for questions. Then we are going to have real Mahjong on the screen, and we will go as fast or as slow as we can and as you give us clues. If you want to ask a question and say, how come you're passing the 1 bam, or why didn't you pass the 6 dot, please put them in the chat when we get there, and Donna and I will monitor the chat and we will go from there. The more you interact, the more we all gain out of this exercise. And then after that, we'll break for questions again, and we will tell you about some upcoming events, and then we will wrap up. So with that being said, we're recording, right, Donna?
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, we will let Donna Miller Small share her screen and unmute.
I just want Donna to tell us where she is. So Dara and I are in Hollywood, Florida. And Donna, where are you right now?
I am in North Belmore, New York, which is on Long Island. So I think the beautiful, wonderful thing about the silver lining of COVID is how the geographic lines dropped and we were able to connect. And that's how I met these two wonderful women. People thought I was Donna Miller Kassman. I was teaching a lot of virtual classes, and we connected, and the rest was history. And I have to tell you, working with these two women has been just such a gift. It's nice and lovely, and I feel grateful when I meet not only smart people, but nice people and smart business people. And they do a lot for our Mahjong community. My association with Modern Mahjong has enriched my Mahjong, my teaching. We have collaborated, and here's a platform where we're all coming together, and we love Mahjong. We love talking about it. So I'm glad to be here. Okay.
So wait, Barbara Wood said she played at your house, Donna, with you. Barbara.
Oh, hello, Barbara. We'll have to figure out which house we played in, but okay. And Mahjong is 6 degrees of separation. So anyhow, folks, one of the things I love about what Dara and Donna do is they make Mahjong better. And the collaborative effort, the PDFs they create, what they do for online. I'm teaching Mahjong for 15 years, and I'm using some of the documents that they have put together, which has enriched my teaching. So I'm going to use their document that they created on the Charleston, which I've started to use in my teaching, because you know what? I can't do it better than this. I think they covered so much. I watched the video, so I want to highlight a couple of important things. And this is, if you weren't there and you want the document, it's available on their Facebook group and website. So when I teach, and this applies to everything, knowing the card is the essence of the game. It's going to serve you well. You don't need to memorize it. If you're a newer player, you need to get as familiar as you can with the hands. Okay, and following the tiles. I always say, we all have favorite hands. I have favorite hands. I let the tiles lead me where they're going to go, where we're going to go. I don't fight. This is a challenging enough game. I don't want to fight against the tiles that I have. I want to go with them. Okay. And following the tiles, and I think it's talked about, there's a couple of things. Don't be discouraged when you remember, and I love this. I quoted this the other day. Julia Roberts, I think, was on the Colbert Show, and she said, getting those 13 or 14 tiles is chaos, and we are making order out of chaos. That's daunting, and very rarely are you going to open up with a lot of tiles that work together. So don't be discouraged. And I love this, that you get 21 new tiles in the Charleston. And someone else said, this isn't the Charleston, but on one of our other, if you haven't looked at the strategy webinars that they've provided, they've been wonderful. I think it was Theresa who reminded us on that last roundtable that you get 25 picks too. So there's a lot to go when you get chaos. Okay, you're not looking for a specific hand. The Charleston is about looking for a neighborhood, eliminating tiles that don't go together. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Look to see if you have tiles that work together. And Tom Sloper used to be my guru. Now these ladies kind of are, and I still have some holdovers from him. And he talked about, and I give handouts out about how to pick a hand. We want to look for friends. Bette Midler talks about you got to have friends. Well, there might not be friends with your competitors sitting at the table, but you got to look for tiles that are friends. And that means, do they work together? Pairs are very important, and we look for likeness. You may not have a pair of 2s and 4s, but you may have a lot of 2, 4, 6s, and 8s. So when I have nothing, I start saving tiles that are like in some way. Pairs and pungs are power combinations. We all know how powerful pairs are and how important they are, because you can't use a joker for a pair. And and one of our roundtables or strategy sessions, someone shared that she looks for a neighborhood. That means the category on the card. She looks for, like when you're buying a house, she looks for you look in a neighborhood. You look in the streets in a neighborhood. Hopefully you find a street, you find a house, and maybe if you're lucky enough, you go to contract, which means you make Mahjong. So that's kind of narrowing down the focus. Okay, let me just see. All right. Organizing your tiles in every pass. Let me just see what else is here. There's a lot of good. Don't be attached to tiles only because they might be valuable. Sometimes I'll have a triple of something. I had a triple of 8 dots the other day, and I wasn't getting anything to go with them. So I abandoned that. Particularly after you do right across left. If you're not seeing your tiles coming in, that might be the time to reevaluate. And by the way, I believe the passing and the Charleston is probably the single most important aspect of the game to get set up properly. And in my observation of some really skilled players, the ones that win more consistently, and this is a game of luck and skill, really have a skill in passing tiles. And that's knowing the card and what hand to go for or what neighborhood. So do you have flowers? I have a thing about flowers. Dara and Donna know it. But what don't I pass? Let me just go through and see if there's anything else here. Jokers. All right, I want to talk about jokers for a minute. Yes, I get 2 or 3 jokers. I look at the quint section. But guess what, folks? This happens so much, and I play in 2 regular games. One, this happens more than the other. People complain when they don't get jokers. And you know what? Mum's the word, because 3 people complain about jokers and they say, well, you're not saying anything. You must have a lot. And I said, I know what you don't have. You don't know what I have, but I know what's with your information, what else I can expect. So when they're groaning and moaning about not having jokers, depending on what I have or don't, I know there are 8 jokers and I know what might be on the walls. So Mum's
Yeah, Donna, I mean, Dara and I have learned when someone says, I don't have any jokers, who has all the jokers? First of all, that could be strategy. I don't really believe them. But second of all, the next time they do have jokers, they're very quiet.
Yes.
So it's better to not say anything at all.
Absolutely, because you're giving away information. And even in the passing, and I think you talk about this in this document, they pick up a pass, you know, that's giving information. You know, when they pick up a pass and just pass it to the right, or wherever they're passing, you know they're annoyed, but that's giving information to your opponents. And that happens a lot in the Charleston. So watch the body language, watch the moaning and groaning, watch the facial expressions. And yes, if you can remember what you've passed, what you see people picking up, that's also a help. And yes, be flexible. If you have to make a decision on, you're in between 2 hands and you're trying to decide, what is a determining factor for me are pairs. Even if I have 1 less tile for a hand that doesn't require pairs, I'm probably going to go with it. The other thing that I like to do is I like hands that share common tiles. And there's a lot of crossover hands. Example, if I'm playing like numbers, many of those hands on the lower numbers can switch. Ones can switch if you have a 2 to 1 + 1 is 2. So I like collecting tiles that can support more than 1 hand. That's like really ideal. Okay. Courtesy pass. There's some things to think about there. Yes, you want to know your backup hands. Okay. Couple of other thoughts, and then I'm going to ask for a question. I feel strongly in passing, particularly early, that we pass what I call disparate tiles, tiles that don't go together. You know, a north, a 2-bam, and a 9-dot. You know, most of those aren't going to be friends. So the more you can do that, the better, and particularly in the beginning. You don't want to give people setups. I wouldn't pass a 2, 4, and an 8. Also, I have a thing about passing flowers. In my estimation, it's a setup to give people more than 1 flower. And I don't stop the passing often, But if I only have a pair of flowers that I can't use in one other tile, I'm not going to pass them. I'm going to stop the Charleston. The only time I will give normally a flower is on that, what we call the last across. I might give a flower. But there are a lot of, I forgot what the percentage is. It's over 40% of the hands on the card have flowers. And you don't want to help your competitors. Also, if I have a pair of valuable, what if I only have 2 soaps to give with another tile? I might not pass those. That's given somebody a hand in the 2023 section. So pairs of dragons, because they're valuable, I might not do. Okay. So that's kind of my tips. I want to see if you have questions before we do some demos on real Mahjong.
Well, Donna,
And if
someone
anybody
asked us
wants
they
to-
want to see your necklace.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was given to me by, she became a friend. It's a pin. It's an antique, it's an old tile, and it's collected a setting and some beading. It was, yeah, and it's a pin that I put on a necklace. I don't think she's on the, yeah, one of my first students when I started teaching dropped this off with talking about the winds of change. And that was like 15 years ago. I don't get to see her that often, but yeah, I took this out because I like special jewelry. I'm the daughter of a jeweler, so I don't like real costumey stuff. I like authentic stuff, so thanks. And I love accessories. They have a wonderful scarf. It was too warm to put it on. These ladies have a beautiful Mahjong tiled scarf that is a coveted accessory for me. Okay.
So Laura Porter was asking, why is it that only on that final across pass would you consider the flower?
If I'm squeezed, that's why that's a must. You can't steal on that. And if I have to break up a good hand or, pass a tile that's supporting my hand, that's the time. If I have to pass a flower, I would do it. I wouldn't do it unnecessarily, only if I'm squeezed and I don't have another tile to
So what if
substitute.
you were very, not set, but what if you had a terrific hand, it was the final right or the optional, and the only tile you knew you didn't need was a flower, would you pass nothing?
Yes.
And was same with a soap?
I'm not sure about, first of all, on the option, let's talk about the last right. By the time you get to the last right and the option, you've seen a lot of tiles. That option with one, if I'm that set, they're not, particularly if I need, let's say a calm, and I've got 3 8 dots, the chance of me of getting a 4th 8 dot is not great. So the percentages don't work in that venue. And guess what? If I've got 3 8 dots and somebody was going to pass it, it's probably going to get thrown anyway. I can call it. So no, I wouldn't.
So
Okay.
actually, this is a question from Audrey, which this is one of, so we did a best practices series, and it was 5 different topics, and it was partially rule, but partially adding etiquette and other things. And one of the things we talked about was giving tells, and one of the things that a lot of people do watch is what you do with your passes. So Audrey's asking, when passing, is she giving away too much info if she passes the same tile rather than adding and then picking tiles to pass?
Well, that's a good question. And this is one of the points on your document. You put the tiles on your rack, on the edge of your rack. You should do that every time because that's a tell. And if you want to continue passing them, you put it on your rack. Most people are looking at what they're getting and they might not notice you took the 3 tiles out and you passed it. If somebody's really observing you, you might want to move them around and then pass them. So I would pass it, but I always put them on my rack. I never just.
And I feel that I see things very differently if I put them where in my mind they belong. Because I might be doing a 2, 4, 6, 8, and I got a 3 and a 5. And then when I put them where they belong, all of a sudden I realize I'm actually closer to a consecutive than an odd even. So I do it twofold. I do it to not, because Donna and I play with somebody who not only does she watch where we put the tiles, she watches where our eyes go on the card. I mean, she is watching everything. So I don't want to broadcast information. I want to keep what I'm doing, you know, and we're very friendly, we're very social, but we don't talk about the game.
Boy, that's a very observant player. I've heard about a woman in one of the Piscataway tournament that watches everybody and that can remember a lot of times what was saved even. So, and you know what? That's knowing your competition and your Mahjongista friend. So you know she's looking at you. You know what to do with that.
Yeah. And a lot of our friends take the card, they fold it and they put it under their lap when they're, you know, looking, and then they put it back up. So I'm not sure, Barbara, when you say, do you mix or shuffle the tiles? Do you mean the passes that you're getting? You move them around?
I think that's what she meant. I don't often move them around, only because, Barbara, it takes too much time. Remember, we're passing. And one of the biggest challenges with Mahjong, and the biggest complaints, is too slow. And if I'm moving my tiles around that much, I'm holding up the passing. So for that reason only, I usually put them on the edge of my rack, and either I move them in or I put them up and then I move them. Most people, and this is knowing who you're playing with, are not watching what you're doing with those tiles. They're watching what they're doing and what they're passing.
Yeah.
I think people that are watching really know the card very well, because they don't have to focus so much on their own hand that they can watch you. So for beginners, I think you're focused on what hand am I doing. And
Donna, that's a great point, because if you're a beginner and you're watching this, please don't get discouraged thinking, oh my God, everybody's watching, and that everything takes a level. And we did a discussion of what we kind of thought the definition of players are. And when you're a beginner or a newbie, you're just learning the rules, and then you're becoming more advanced. But your goal is to be playing offensively and defensively. But first you have to learn to play offensively.
Absolutely. I, at this point, don't look at the card that much when I'm passing, because unless I'm trying to me, the 3, 6, 9 section still is challenging. And that might be a section I look at more, but mostly I'm collecting tiles that are like. And so I'm not really focused, particularly early, I'm not focusing on a hand because I don't have it. So,
and then Susan just asked, do you change if you're getting tiles that fit in a different hand during the Charleston, you're not getting the ones you originally hoped for? Do you change?
Yes, I do. When I played Monday, I forgot I was saving these tiles and nothing was coming. Maybe they were 7s and 8s, and I had a soak and I'm getting 2s and 3s. So I'll switch, you know, if nothing is coming in. That's knowing the card and knowing where you're switchable. And sometimes you're down the middle. Maybe you got 2s and 3s and 7s and 8s. And you got to figure out where, you know, I'll be saving some wins sometimes and I'm seeing no other wins come in. So either somebody's saving them or they're in the wall.
So it's interesting. Susan asked when. Is it after ROL? And I'll answer, and then I usually do it after the over. If before the first left, I realize that I'm not getting things and I'm passing evens and I'm getting odds and I'm getting more odds. And I'm like, wait a second, I still have odds on my rack. I'll switch then. I feel at some point, there's kind of a point of no return. And it's kind of
like Susan said, that's very soon to do it. That is soon to do that. But
well, you've got 3 passes, the right, across, left. And after 3 passes, if you're not seeing anything, that might be the time, because you've got 3 right, across, left, and maybe you wait till the second left. And that's when Dara was saying on the must across, she might change it around.
Oh, no, I was even saying before that. I do it before the first
Does
left
it
usually.
before.
Oh,
I mean, it depends. It depends on if it's just blaringly obvious.
yes.
Otherwise, it just kind of, takes, but let's get into real Mahjong so we can do a few
Okay.
Charlestons.
All right, let me share my screen and see what they're going to deal us. Oh, you know what? I didn't put hold on. The one thing I forgot to do, I have to put on
Sound.
Yeah, I should know that. Okay, so here we go, folks.
So if you're not familiar with the real Mahjong, you select the card, you select the speed, and then you select, she's going to do invisible mode tonight, so nobody will join us while
I
we're
think we
playing.
should do normal.
I think
mode.
normal's fine, so we could get.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can always stop it. Okay, let's see what the tiles are.
First right.
Okay, first thing we all look for, which I wouldn't complain. I'm going to sort it, and I don't see jokers. But what do we have? Oh, they couldn't give me a decent hand here. Well, we got cracks. We got a 2 and a 5. Do we have any friends here? Boy, they would
Well,
have
it's
to
interesting. You have that. I always, for some reason, look at that second from the bottom in consecutive run. You have a flower and you have 1, 2, and then 3, but you don't have any 3 in the BAMs. But that's just something that.
Yeah, the 1, 2. Yeah. Boy, those pairs of 7s are not friends with the 2s, but
Right.
It's
Well-
interesting this year, because of the consecutive run in 2 suits or 1 suit, 4s and 7s actually go together now. Because usually 4 and 7 are just,
4, 5,
now you
6,
could do
7.
4, I mean, not on this hand, but it's just interesting to me that it kind of changed what are friends.
Yeah. Well, there's also the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we don't have.
Right,
Right,
but those are
tiles.
those numbers only, yeah.
Yeah.
Elaine is saying 5, 7, 9. We'll focus on 5,
well,
7,
look-
9.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, do we have more high tiles or low tiles? That's another thing I
Right.
look at. Let's see, because this is tough.
That
You
is
know,
fine.
The Mahjong people couldn't, I'm gonna call up.
We didn't call Ronnie before and
I
say.
better
give us a
call
really fun
Ronnie and
deal.
Matt so that I can have something decent. And you know what? When I get junk, sometimes I save the wins too. So we've got more strength here. 2, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 tiles that are higher.
And the 3 kind of goes with them also. It's a shame
Yeah,
because the 3
yeah.
2s kind of are the things that don't fit in.
They don't.
But you're not, I know you're not passing 3
But
2s.
you have to focus on what you can pass. Yeah. I mean,
I have to focus on what I can pass. Absolutely. Well, I'm looking at the 1 and the 9, and there's that hand. Well, I mean, normally I'll look at some jokerless hands, but we don't have any really 1, 3, 5 hands in the single and pair section. So what am I going to pass? Maybe I'm going to pass a wind here or get rid of it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to pass.
And would you consider getting rid of the 6s? Maybe
that's what I
and-
said.
The 6s because they don't go with the 5s and 7s?
I would maybe think of odd and do a 6, an east, and a 2, and maybe even break up the 2 dot so you're not stuck with it across.
That's a thought. I wish we had some more 6s and 8s or 4s because we've got a 6 dot that it works with. Yeah, I could see that. The only thing is the 6, 7, if we get a 4 and a 5, the 6 and 7 works. So
Yeah.
maybe we're gonna.
So on Real Mahjong, somebody was asking which set. In settings, you could change the set. Deborah Davidson said get rid of the 1, 2, and 3. Wendy Christopher said you have 2s, 3s, and an east to start the last hand in Winds and Dragons. Linda Siegel suggests a 1 dot, a 3 crack, a 7 crack, and a 9 dot. So it's so, to me, it's so interesting. I mean, I always say like Baskin Robbins, how the logo has the 31 flavors in it,
Right.
It's just a
People
sampling
see
of 6 people, and
Yeah.
everyone had something different.
People see hands very differently. Absolutely. Let's give, I don't know.
That's why I'm
let's
glad
give-
you're our guest tonight.
Yeah,
Donna.
well, I'm in the hot seat. All right. You know what? It's a stab in the dark. Let's give it a try.
Oh, that's so funny. I almost went to hit the pass button thinking it's my screen.
Well, we got a second flower. The bots are programmed in their own ways. We don't know quite how. Oh, God, we've got these ones and twos. You know, the 6 and 7 and the 3s might be friends with the red. 1 and 2. Oh, geez.
Right, this is hard.
This is not easy. I'm gonna break up the 1s and 2s at least at this point. So let's give a 1 bam, a 2 dot, and the 7s and 9 kind of work.
Yeah. Unless you get rid of the 3 crack and just stick with the higher numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
Elaine
gonna-
says 2 flowers,
Left.
5 pair of 7s and 9. So flower, 5, 7.
Well,
9.
it's a 5, 7, and 9 hand. Yeah, we got a green in, which is a friend with the BAMs, and we've got 2, a west and a north here. Ugh. All right, so what are we gonna get rid of? Let's get rid of the 5 dot. Well, with the 5s, the friends. Let's get rid
I
of
don't
the
like
5.
passing wins with the 2s. I mean, to give someone the year hand or something, but
Yeah, well, I'm
It's
gonna
hard.
give a 5 dot, a 2 bam, and maybe I'll give him a west and keep the north. Okay,
Second left.
well, we got the 9 crack in.
I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9, the concealed hands in the consecutive run is the pair of flowers and then 3 of a kind, 2, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's a possibility. The 6 dot came back and so did the 1 dot. Interesting, huh?
Well, that's one thing. If you're playing against the bots, it's as if you're playing with somebody who has incredible memory. I mean, they will pass you back the tiles, you pass them thinking you don't need them.
Sometimes they do,
Yeah.
and they're programmed, and I've seen them go for hands that they need pairs and they don't have any of them. So I know the bots like the wins normally, although not that much this time. I don't want to give them a 1, 2, and a 6. I'm going to give them the north. We'll see.
And I mean, I know you just gave them the west before. Are you
I
hoping
did.
they passed it along, or you just figured
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I don't have really anything else to
Yeah.
give them. I don't want to give them a 2 dot.
I mean, I'm asking softball questions just because,
Yeah.
you know, the way I'm
I coulda
phrasing it.
I could have given them a 5 bam.
Yeah, I
but-
just want to try to be our audience by asking you, you
Yeah,
know, what they might be asking.
I'll pass a north, and I might not pass a north and a south, but I don't have many better tiles to pass. I got nothing in here, so let's see.
Across.
Okay, well, here's a 4 crack. 4, 5, 6, 7. That 6 dot keeps coming back. Must have crossed. We're gonna give him the 2 dot.
I agree with you. That's the one I was.
We'll give him the 2 dot. I don't love doing it because I've passed a 2 dot around, but the 6 keeps coming back.
Last right.
That's right. Oh, well, we got 9 crack and 9 dots. They're friends, you know, for the like numbers. So let's give them a 1 crack. And I'm going to give them the 5 bam at this point. And maybe the 4 crack. What else are we giving them? Maybe we'll give them the 4 crack.
Well, what if you, wait, hold on, I can't see the screen. Do you not want to give the green only
green,
because?
that's what I was gonna say.
I
Because
don't
the
like
4, I
giving
mean, I
up-
know right now you don't have a 5 or a 4, another 4, but the 6, 7, 8, 9, or the 4, 5, 6, 7 could be that concealed hand.
Guess what, folks, though? We got pairs of 9 cracks and 9 dots. That's leading the way. Those are the
Okay.
tiles leading. So either I'm not, 4s and 9s are not friends. So goodbye 4 in my estimation. So,
Yep.
Optional across.
huh.
We got
Well,
the 5 crack.
5, the 5, 7, 9. What am I going to give?
That 1
Um,
dot and that 6 dot keep
That
coming.
6 dot and 1 dot have been circulating. So we're going to give them 2. And there we go. So comments about this, questions, because I don't think we're going to play the game. This is about passing in Charleston. This isn't
Yeah.
about.
So I mean, it started looking like you had no friends. I mean, you weren't in any neighborhood, and now you're closer. Michelle was our guest for Michelle Frizzell was a guest, and her goal, she said that the person who's expected to win is when you have 4 tiles you need for Mahjong. over that, you're an underdog, and under that, you're like the front runner. So it's interesting that that is kind of my comfort level. If I'm able to do a Charleston and pass well enough that I am within 4, I feel confident.
Did she say what the percentage of times that she is set and only needs 4 tiles after the passing?
That's a great question. We could
I'd
ask
love to know that, because it doesn't happen to me that often.
Yeah.
I don't know if it happens to you folks out there. That maybe that gets into the skill of passing, but even when I'm watching people, when I'm betting, and by the way, when you're out as the 5th, watch what people are passing.
if they don't mind.
They don't, well, you can be a innocent fly on the wall. You don't have to stand over them, but you don't have to stand at the table. If you sit in a chair, you can see 1 or 2 people.
Right.
You watch
Okay.
them. So,
And it's interesting, Donna and I met up with a friend who was in town, and we met halfway and we played 3-player with no Charleston. And it really is amazing. I mean, you get another 12 picks, but it's amazing how we only had 1 wall game out of like 3 hours of play. But boy, is it really just a slow process when you're not doing the Charleston. And it's winnable and it's fun, but it really shows how important the Charleston is.
yeah. So you played the
Let's
Mahjong League.
do another one.
Yeah.
Let's do another one. So
While you're calling up another
I
one,
have to
Elaine
exit.
said she thought flower 579 with 2 reds. That's nice. And
Yeah.
Deborah agreed, and so did Francine and Wendy. And Wendy liked the 5s, the consecutive run concealed. So, okay.
Yeah, because we have 2 out of the 3 pairs in that 5, 7, and 9. We have the 7 cracks.
Yeah.
We have the flowers. So I have to exit the game before it's going to let
Oh,
me.
right, yeah.
So we're
Oh,
gonna-
see, just before, okay. Next time when you go back in, if you could go to settings.
Oh, okay, you'll tell me what to do.
But here's a
Alright.
question, even though you had 2 flowers, would you play any
Right.
hands that don't have any flowers? So you have to just,
Well, even, that the 2 flowers aren't going to drive me to a hands with flowers. If
Right.
I'm set with something else, I throw the flowers out right away. Or
Can
I'll
you
pick
just
it-
click on the little wheel and show settings?
Sure.
So if you go to the menu, that's where you could
Choose-
turn
yeah,
off your
choose
sound, you could
tiles.
choose your
choose
tiles,
file.
you could call another player dead. It was actually fun. Donna and I tested that before it was live, and we had to feed each other tiles to try to make the other person's hand dead. So
Only you guys would do that.
was
I
fun.
love it. I love it. All right, here we are with no jokers again. Let's see. Well, we've got a pair of greens. We've got a lot of dots here. Boy.
when I see something like that where you have 2 8, I know you don't have a 7 crack or 7 bam, but I love the consecutive run winds and dragons
With the
hand.
winds, that's what I thought. You have 2 south, so. You
Yeah.
could do a winds and
Oh,
dragons.
yes, the south with the 2 greens to hold up. You mean the winds and dragons with either 4 north, 4 south, and the dragons, correct? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, or consecutive, because you have 7, 8. I mean, you'll see what you get, but I would keep the 2 souths.
Well, wait a minute, 7 and 8. Oh, you mean with the winds? Oh, yeah.
With the
Yeah,
winds, yeah.
we're gonna hold on to this, and this is strength here, and the rest of it is probably not a big deal. So let's get rid of the 3 dot. And we got more high, the 1 crack and the 4 bam. Those are 3.
Nice about that is 3 different suits, so that's a
3
good way
different
to
suits,
pass.
3 different-
across,
Okay. Oh, boy. 7 bam, a 5 crack, I don't know.
We're playing the hand from before.
Well, I would always just sort just to kind of,
Yeah, all right, let's see. Hold on, let's do it this way.
These are not easy tonight.
Boy, I better call up Matt and Ronnie.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. I mean, I don't think the 9 crack, the 4 crack, and maybe the 7 bam.
well, I would keep the 7 bam just in
Okay.
case other 7 bams come in and winds come in.
With the green,
But if you
That's-
can't, I mean, this is just what I'm seeing.
yeah. I don't want to pass all these cracks.
Yeah.
I mean, we could give up the 5 dot. All right, let's see, because what if we got 8 BAMs, we could go 7, 8, 7, 8. All right, let's give the 5 dot, the 4 crack.
And then what hand are you saving the green for, other than you don't like to pass dragons?
The only hand would be, you know, this card doesn't have a lot of likeness with dragons.
Yeah.
That's really it. That would be it. Or you're right, with the 7 BAM, if I got BAMs in, I could.
No,
do
I'm
some
just
things.
wondering if maybe you keep the 5 dot for a 5, 6, 7, 8 or a 5, 7 and get rid of one of the greens.
No, I don't want to do it. No,
First
Work
left.
around the multiples, Dara.
yeah. All right, so here we go with, we've got some, so this is coming in the wins. So those 2 hands we talked about, the 7, we need a pair here. What are we going to get rid of? Well, we gave away a 4 crack. It's a lot of cracks, but 4 crack. I'm going to give the 9 crack, and I don't want to give him a 5, a 3. These are all friends. I don't love this. I'm going to give away the 7 BAM. I don't want to give away more cracks. So let's just do it. I gotta move the pictures here. Oh, hold on 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
If anybody has the chat blocking them or interrupting them, you could close out the chat. You could close out our picture if you just want to hear Donna talk. All of those you could just X
Second
out.
left.
Well, guess what? Another 7 BAM came in. Oh, gosh. But look at this. So
That's
let's look at-
interesting. That's weird.
That is right.
Oh, 1, 3,
You
5.
see, this is when I say I'm playing 2 hands at once.
Well, it's a good question what to give away. Maybe we pass I don't want to pass all these cracks. The 7 BAMs have gone, but even if we got another 7 BAM, what's going to happen with it? Not much. Maybe we pass the 7 BAM. I'm going to hold the pair of 3s just to have some joker bait, maybe.
Yeah, Mindy said, what about the closed hand, the last hand in Winds and Dragons?
And
Oh.
just to clarify, because I just got a great question in the chat. So when we say hands, we're talking about a specific hand, but really the main section is what we're focusing on. We're not zoning in on one
category.
specific hand.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 numbers, the last one with 2 numbers. I mean, the 7 BAM, maybe in the 8 dots. I don't know. I'm going to give away the 5 crack. I know the 3s aren't.
But that's why I
helpful.
think this is such a great Zoom series. I mean, not to pat us on the back, but Donna's doing
Yes.
hands totally different than I would. And then
Right.
next month we have, is it next month? We have Bubbe,
Yeah.
Fischer, Gooen on. So I think it's so great just to see how people see different hands.
We also have to look at what's being passed, the 1s and 3, I mean. people
Yeah.
are-
I know, and well, do we start saving other things now? It's too late. But boy, all these 1s and 3s, but they're coming around. I don't want to give up the wins. Because I don't see anything better coming up. I'm gonna pass.
And
the
let me
thing-
just interrupt for 1 second. So
Yeah.
Susan was saying, why saving the cracks? She wasn't really saving them as opposed to she didn't want to pass. We'll
You'll
laugh.
pass
Somebody will say
them,
at the
right.
table, oh, I'm passing you a hand. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't want to pass 3 cracks that were all odds, I believe. I forget what they were.
Right,
but-
right. This
Right,
So it
and
came
I
wasn't that
never
she was
passed
necessarily
cracks
saving
with-
them.
I don't pass cracks with a red dragon. So you don't pass the corresponding dragon to what you're passing. So-
absolutely.
Last right.
Oh, boy,
Okay,
those-
let's see.
look at
Oh,
all
boy.
these, look at all these 3s.
That's
My
hysterical.
goodness. Oh, God, 3, 4, 5. Let's pass one of the 3 cracks because it could be a pair. I don't know. Good question. I'm gonna
I mean,
pass
you
it.
could
And when I
North-
said before about playing 2 hands, I didn't mean literally I was playing 2 hands. It was just that our rack has it. I never
Yeah.
stop, and we did a whole study, scientific study on it. I never stop at
stealing
Charleston if
them.
I'm in between 2.
Optional
Because
across.
it does not help you at all, because then you're not getting anything to move towards one of them. You can't win on 2 hands.
So let's do the 4 dot and the 9 crack.
I mean, you could focus on the north, south, and then consecutive. I mean, you have an option there, but
Yeah,
So
no,
that's-
6, 7, 8. I mean, that's
yeah.
Oh, that's 6 dot from last time. So, yeah, we're looking probably at the north, south, 6, 7, 8, but I feel better if I had pairs here. I mean, this is weak. That's why I kept a pair of 3s. You know, if I got a 4 crack in, what would I throw out at this point? You know, probably the cracks. So boy, real Mahjong is not giving us great tiles tonight.
Maybe I think we have time for one more.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
okay. Let's exit. Yes, we want to leave. Let's do a new game. Okay.
I just wrote, what would Dara and Donna do? Because Susan said she hears
I'm
our voice
fine.
saying, I want to stop the Charleston, and she keeps going. So I'm
All
proud.
right. Well, we got a joker at least.
Oh, and we got
some-
odd tiles. Look
Ah.
at this. Wow.
Yeah. Well, remember, there's no 3, 6, 9 with the like numbers and the 3, 6, 9s. They're opposite.
So,
But
so when
fancy
when
greens
you're
are-
actually looking at your tiles, do you kind of count? Like, will you say, okay, I have a 2 and a 6, a 2 and 8, a 2, 4? Like, when I'm looking at that, I'm actually looking at the singles and pairs.
Oh, that's interesting. We got a lot of 2s and 8s here. But we also have 3s and 6s for 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, right?
So I'd be happier if I had a 3 dot and a 9 dot.
I was gonna say, if you had a 9 dot, that'd be great for the knitted
Yeah,
hand.
but we might get 7s in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 tiles that work together.
But you have 3 2s, so.
Yeah, oh boy.
So if you did, and I know we're not saying a specific hand. Wait, hold on, 2, 8. No.
Yeah, most people say keep the 3, 6, 9s.
I mean, what about in the 2, 4, 6, 8, the second hand down?
2, 4, 6.
It's a pair of 2s, a pair of
2,
8s, the
4,
4 and 6s are
6, yeah.
singles.
Well,
It's-
And
I
then-
think you need 2s and 8s that are
Yeah.
No, but
I-
let's play out the 9, the odd. I was just throwing it out there, like, how do you decide? Do you look
No,
at
I
how
think if
close-
you assemble the tiles differently, then you might
Yeah.
see it differently. You might see 2, 4, 6, 8s at this point, but.
I think pairs are important. We've got a pair of 6 bams and greens. That's kind of leading the way for me.
Mhm.
And if
It's
for a
funny, when
2,
we did this a while ago, we did this on Mahjong, and the developer was able to add something to the app. No, I'm sorry, not Mahjong, the American Mahjong practice app. So if
practice
you
that
go on
even.
the app and you and your friends want to see how you start and then how you end, you could go into settings and put the same word as a code, and you will get dealt the same tiles.
oh, wow.
And then you could go through it and say, well, in this time I did it the 3, 6, 9 way and I ended up with this. And then you could hit refresh and do it again and then go a different way. And it's just really interesting to see all the ending options based on decisions.
Boy, I think that could be an interesting idea for something, because I will tell you, being the daughter of masters of bridge, life
Oh,
masters.
duplicate bridge.
Yeah, when you play duplicate bridge, everybody plays the same hands and you move from table to table. The cards are in card holders and you are playing to see who can play the hand the best. So it sounds like an interesting. So guess what we're
For
going
me,
to
at
do?
this point, I would click the arrows and reorganize the tiles.
I'm gonna-
See,
I'm going to do the 1, 2, and the 8 crack. The 2s and the 4s could be friends with the 6 bams for 8s. I want to use these pairs of 6
Well,
bams.
if you wait, hold on one second before you
Yeah.
do that. There's the 2, 4, 4, 6, 8. Maybe so I find that in this section that the 2s aren't as helpful as the 8s are. Do you know what I'm saying?
I want to use the 3, 6, 9s at this
No,
point.
I realize that,
Yeah.
but you were saying how hands that could work for more than one.
Yes, they could. They could.
So
I
I'm trying
don't
to see,
think
because Donna,
we-
if you
Yeah.
did the 1, the 2, well, I guess that's passing a lot of the same. If you did the 1, the 2, and the 2 crack, you would have the 3, 6, 9 option open, and then you also would have the 2, 4, 4, 6, 8 option open.
Yeah.
I don't think it's strong enough. I don't want to give him a
Okay.
1 crack and a 2 crack and a 2 bam. I'm
Got
going
it.
to give him the 8 crack.
And I'm just
Okay.
being the devil's advocate because I know it's much more
That's
helpful
fine.
for people to
Oh,
hear
geez. So
thoughts.
we've got a 2 and a 4 here. Well,
Well,
here's
2,
another.
4, 6, 8, just with 2 suits. I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
how about this one, folks? 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 here. What am I going to give away? Well, and the 5 and the 6 bam works with the greens. So I'm going to give away, I think, the 9 bam, the 1 crack, and the 2 crack. Anybody have anything to say about? Because these all work together. These are all friends.
yep.
3,
No,
4,
I-
5, 6, 2, 4, 6. If we got an 8 bam, let's see.
First left.
That's 7 bam. All right, this is looking stronger. All right. So with that addition of the 7 bam, we've got 5, 6, 7. We're not looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, but we still could be looking at 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's give away the 2 dot, the 7 crack, and the west. And see what happens.
Second left.
Ooh, we got another.
Passing stopped. Optional across.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, who stopped? Which one stopped? Did we
computer
see?
2 across from you.
Oh, computer 2 stopped,
Yep.
and they want to give 2 tiles. Usually when somebody stops, I won't do it.
Right.
I don't know. You know what, just for since we're not playing a game, let's give them 2, see what we get.
Right, but as you said, when normally someone stops at Charleston, we don't pass them anything.
We don't, but.
And it was
we're not
really
playing-
funny because people who appreciate the rules and who love the game, and it's not being cutthroat. It's not being, you're playing the game for fun and to win. And if somebody's stopping and you know their methodology, they're probably close. And if they're close, then you don't want to give them their winning tile.
Exactly.
Now, if you play with someone all the time and they always stop it because they're between 2 hands, then that might go into your decision to give them a tile.
Then I would be spiteful and not do it if they're stopping. If Tom Sloper said years ago, when somebody asked him about stopping the passing, if you do it too often, people won't want to play with you.
That's right.
So I just wanted to see what came back. Well, that 1 crack came back. We exchanged the 1 crack and the 9 dot. So it wasn't a big deal. Again, I mean, so what are we closest to? I don't know. Let's get 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 tiles, and a joker is 7. No, you're not restarting my computer now. Folks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for
7.
the either one of the bams with the greens. We don't have a
Right.
flower here though, and that bothers me. To go for a hand like that without having a flower, I don't love it. And we also got this 9 dot in. So I like the 6 bams and the green. So I would throw out the 1 crack and see. You know, it's weak, but we have the 3 dot and the 9 dot. The 6 bams could go in the middle and you'd have the green. That's what they call the knitted hand on 3, 6, 9, where it's 4 3s of 1 suit, 4 9s of the second suit, the 3 6s and the 3, you know, so how many do we have for that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is 5, 6. We've got 6 tiles for several different hands. So at least, you know, it's better than the last 2 deals we've gotten. At least we've got
Donna, we've
7.
had a few questions about what a knitted hand is.
Yeah, that's a term did that come from the Mahjong League?
It came from Chinese hands. So it's when the pattern switches back and forth. So it's like knit one, purl two, which I'm not a knitter, but if you are, that. So in other cards, it'll be like pung kong, and it'll be changing suits, and either the dragon matches the middle,
I almost think it's like swinging, and there was a card a year or two ago that middle number matched the dragon. They gave it to us here this year, but there was a card a few years ago where there were a lot of those hands where the middle number you swung into the dragon.
Can you just go back over if this was the ending result and you were about to go for a hand? Obviously, it would depend on what you pick and whatever, but some people asked in the chat, what hands were you saying you'd be considering for this?
I would, right here, the 3, 6, 9 with the 6 bands in the middle and the greens. So that's the next to the last hand from the bottom of 3, 6, 9, the knitted hand we were talking about. You don't need flowers. I guess it's weak, but 3, 6, we don't have 9 bands there.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, and the 3
dots and bams.
Yeah, 3, 4,
5.
5.
Technically 3, 4, 5, 6 in either one suit or two, because you have the 6 dots.
The 6 dots. Or we've got the pairs of 6s too as we look. So you might want to use them if we picked in 7 dots. This is another hand. It's weak because we don't have 7 dots, but look at this one. 6, 7, 6, 7. I love that hand, by the way. It's a new hand on the card. The hand that is the third hand from the bottom, it says, and it's the 3, 4, 3, 4, pung, kong, pung, kong.
Right.
2, 4, 5 tiles. So all these tiles are working together. The only thing that doesn't work in this hand at this point is the 1 crack, and we'll get rid of it. And we're going to I would need to pick and throw a bit to see what I would do. Maybe if the 6 bam went out right away, I might call it because you can use it for the 6, 7, 6, 7. You couldn't use it for the 3, 4, 5, 6, but that's the semblance of the hand. And again, we don't have 9 out of 14 tiles or 9 out of 13. We don't have just 4 tiles. So this is 3 hands that we haven't had that many tiles.
But what's interesting is if you call the 6 bam, it's still, like somebody said today, they don't find the card flexible. I actually find it very flexible. Yeah.
I don't tend to call early unless my hand is really cemented. And I have one joker, folks. This goes into how we play. I'm not going to use that joker up, so early. It's just the way I play, particularly with not having a glued hand. Why trap yourself in using a joker? So we're good. Okay.
And I just say at this point, if you don't have any flowers, you shouldn't go with any hands that have flowers because, you don't
probably not. Depending what if you picked a flower in on the first pick? That would change maybe your thinking about the consecutive run, with the greens. So yes, but I don't look for problems. When I need 2 flowers and I don't have them, I'm going to look for a different hand. Absolutely. Okay. So good. Do we have any other questions on anything? Actually, we're talking about the Charleston. Anybody out there in Mahjong land? Can you get a copy of this meeting? Oh, talk about that. These people put up stuff on YouTube like I drink water during the day. So yes, this is going to be on their YouTube channel. Correct?
Yes, it will be.
It's an interesting exercise just to see. We all have different opinions, and it's not a guaranteed win, so you just have to go with your gut and experience, and sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
You have some basic strategies for the Charleston, like that wonderful document that is very valuable, to look at the basics of the strategy and then adapt into what the tiles are showing you and what you're comfortable, playing. So, people look at hands differently. They look at the card differently. It's fun. It's fun to discuss.
So I am going to go into, hold on one second, if I could do this from here. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's our
small,
website?
but yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. Is that better?
Somebody just shared something in the chat, and they're absolutely right. It's not really about, even with the greatest of tiles, and we've seen this, you're set to call everything after the passing and you don't pick a tile doesn't go out, because folks, this is a game that is a lot of luck. So yes, for that comment. So,
and I also find if players are very good and they're playing defensively, that brings a whole other level to it. I mean,
and we talked about
for
this.
those of you who are asking, Donna and I are two friends that play in Hollywood, Florida. And this is our website. If you haven't been, we have great gifts, we have events. And the reason I'm here is to show you on the left-hand margin of our website, if you scroll down, these are all our different gifts and things. We also have, if you're not on social media, we share our YouTube channel, we share our Facebook group. We have a teacher directory. If you teach and you want to share for free, we have it listed by state, and you could tell us and we'll add it to the directory. If you have places that are public that you would like to invite people to play or know of them, we'll add that. Here's our directory of tournaments. This we have to update. This was our 2022 review with Barney. So here is the main reason I'm showing you. And we're trying to do this for Canasta as well. For rule and strategy posts and learn the 2023 card. These two tabs are really helpful. If you click on them, and then you could do Command F or Control F and search for a keyword. We share all these visuals that we create, and we try to make them with less ink, so you could print them and screenshot them and share them with friends. And the best practices one that we were talking about today, let's see if I could actually do that while I'm on so we share a screen. This is a PDF, it's 5 pages, and it's just certain things you might not think of when you're playing. So this is best practices when dealing. When you deal, everybody, the best practice, and on the back of the card, roll the dice and then take your own tiles. And the reasoning for it, sometimes people say, well, I want to know the reason. So if you knock over someone's tile because you're dealing, they're still getting that tile and you saw it. So if you take your own tile, it's only your fault if it knocks over. The other best practice, keep them in stacks. So if they're not in stacks, then sometimes people don't realize that you already picked and they might pick more.
You mean
So we
and
do
not
that for
putting
all
them on
different topics. We do it for a lot of people's pet peeve about moving the dice wall over. It should stay where it was. About claiming a discard. This is the one we mentioned today about sharing information and about how to make sure you congratulate people when they win. So, these are just really helpful and a lot of etiquette during the game.
Somebody posted in the chat, and maybe you could answer the question, and I wanted to add one thing. I am doing a strategy series for one of the libraries. It's been posted on Modern Mahjong. It's tomorrow night. I'm going to continue the Charleston there, and then it's happening two other Thursdays, basically dedicated to strategy from the Bethpage Library. Somebody is asking, when is your next online tournament that you will sponsor?
Oh, great question.
You have that
Well,
yet?
right now, a lot of people are away. I mean, we just had one in June. So when people come back from vacation, we're doing an in-person event in August. So, I mean, I don't want to talk for Dara, but it'll probably be September, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's good. And then the next Zoom, oh, here, I could share my screen again. Hold on, I'll go back. So, well, actually, it's just probably better. When we post it, we'll have a whole link. We have our next one is with Karen Gooen, she's known as Bubbe Fischer. And then we have a really interesting one, which came out of our virtual vintage. It is going to be just tips about when you're buying, and we sell a set, and our replica and rope set is on the way, so get excited. People are begging for us to re-release it. If you don't know what a rope set is, it's when the tiles on the border are a different color. So it's just so elegant. It's like a tuxedo. The front and the back are off-white cream, and then the outside is black. So hopefully we'll have that within the next 2 months. But we sell sets, we collect vintage sets, and we do a virtual vintage series where people invite us into their home and share just the most. I mean, it inspired us to keep collecting, and COVID has really added to my collection. So somebody wanted to know what to look for, and we have experts of collectors and teachers, and they are going to share. Donna, what would you call it? The pitfalls of collecting?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned the hard way. You know, we bought some sets that were, if it says 152 tiles, it doesn't mean all the tiles match. So, you know, there's different things to look out for. There's some rotting diseases in tiles, you know, so we're going to explain all that with some experts and what's.
And I think that's Wednesday, September 6th. Normally our Zooms are all 7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. Every once in a while, depending on our schedule and our guest schedule, we mix it around, but usually. Oh, and if you're interested in learning canasta, the JCC in Boynton Beach, Florida is hosting Donna and I to talk about our book, and you don't have to be a member. You could sign up. So if you're interested, just shoot us an email or go to our Facebook group, Modern American Canasta, and the link is on there. So we are going to talk about our book and about how you could get involved and meet you wherever you are in your canasta journey. Marion, great question. This value of set is determined by obviously supply and demand, the rareness of it, but also every detail of it, the material, how complete it is, if it's valuable for more than one style of play, is it playable for National Mahjong League? Just putting together the template for the discussions for our panel, it was unbelievable. I think the factors of value were probably 2 pages long. You know, if it's bone and bamboo, what's the ratio of bone to bamboo?
Right, I was going to say, a friend of mine called yesterday. She's in Virginia, in an antique store, and you're going to want this set. And I go, send me a picture. The bone to bamboo ratio was terrible. It was like a little bone. I go, it's not worth $185 they're asking for it. So these are the things that we'll explain and we'll talk about.
I mean,
so.
even just whether they have original jokers, you know, if they have original jokers versus joker stickers, if the tiles for the jokers match, you know, can you tell it's a joker from the back of the set?
Yeah. Donna, you had a question?
Even if you're not a collector, I went to one of the vintage virtuals, and it's so interesting to see the range of sets and to hear people who are really knowledgeable, who it's a hobby. It's like collecting jewelry or antiques. But we play Mahjong, and it gives you other information about sets you would never know. It's like going to a museum, folks. So even if you don't collect sets, come. I'm going to be there on September 6th listening.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'm just answering Fran's question. If you go to Facebook Mahjong community, there's a search bar, there's a magnifying glass, and you could search for keywords. We've done posts before about how to play with 3, and you don't do a Charleston. I mean, if you want to play by the official rules. And what's interesting, and it's a little, the way it's worded in a bulletin and in Mahjong Made Easy is a little ambiguous. East takes the first 4. The other players take their 4. You keep a wall in front of everybody, and you keep going until everybody has 12. Then East takes their 14th tile, 1 at a time. And the reason for it, we did a picture. If East took 1 and 3, that's just a shortcut for playing with 4 people. So East takes 1, that's 13, everybody else takes 1, and then East takes their 14th. So then you're left with a flat wall at the end. And it sounds silly, but kind of a throwback to Donna. I love when people do throwbacks in comedy. It's like what Julia Roberts said, it's the random distribution of tiles. So if you take 1 and 3, you're getting the wrong the wrong tile. So,
right,
I mean,
as you said, we just played it with 3 and it wasn't great without the Charleston. So, I mean,
but it was really challenging.
It was fun. It was challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's so funny. The other thing is we just added the Siamese card to our website. So if you search Siamese is wonderful 2-player. We've done a quick start guide on how to play. And if you play with 2-player, you can use an MJL card. If you want another challenge, Gladys Grad came up with rules for Siamese, and we just added her card to our website.
Yeah, and a
So
lot of
yes,
people, if they've already finished the card, which I can't believe, but if they have, then they play with the Siamese card. So it's fun.
So yes,
Okay.
we agree. The Art of Mahjong, it's great, beautiful tiles, beautiful book. So
That's
thank
the
you
one
all
by
for joining
Gregg
us.
and Toby. Great. Thank you for having me. And
Thank you again. Always a wonderful. Can't wait till you're back in Sarasota.
Yes.
I'll be down in Florida before you know it. Take care. Bye for
So thanks
now.
all for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.